Okay, so today we're going to be trying to put this truck back together. In the last episode we ended off and the motor ran, and since then I've painted the air cleaner, put some oil in it, I painted the coil, I painted the starter, I got a new cap and rotor coming, and what we want to do right now is we want to put the radiator and core support in. I've thread tapped and cleaned up all the original bolts. I think I'm missing like two, maybe I lost them or whatever. So we're going to set the core support in, bolt it in, finagle it around these wires, because in the meantime I've also been doing some wiring. The wiring on this truck was completely toast, so we got new pigtails for the headlights, we got everything going up to a junction block going up. I even have some wires ran for the generator all the way up to the regulator, have the wires coming up to feed everything. So we're like, I don't know, maybe halfway done with the wiring. It's not really my strong suit, but that's what, oh man, almost fell on my tripod. That's what we're doing. Wires are ran, let's see, around in the right spots. There we go. Got two bolts started on the bottom that go down through the frame. Nut and bolt it from underneath. I'm going to leave all these loose. See how I can still move this around? Because I might still need to move this around to line up the other holes. Then when you get them all started, then you can wrench them down. So now that the radiator and core support is in, we can go ahead and try and slip this grill on. Let's see, where would these are probably gonna go. Well, they're probably gonna be in my way every step of the way, but So I just want to show you guys what I'm doing. This truck has been apart for probably 40-50 years, and things sit and they sag and they get bent and whatever. So although this is all original stuff and usually it fits really well, I'm still having to do a few extra things. I got this C-clamp on with a piece of wood, had to tighten it together, put a screwdriver through a couple of the holes to line them up because they don't want to line up and things get bent. So I got 2 of the bolts started, about to try and get the 3rd one started, and then we also have, oops, come on now, and there's also 3 bolts down here on the bottom, and then there's also the ones on the other side. There's one here. We're almost lined up here. Probably wouldn't take a whole lot to, you know, get that situated. It's just, you know, you got to bend things back and you got to sort of muscle it together, but it's looking good though. Look at this. Doesn't it look so good with the rest of the truck? I'm so stoked. I can't wait to get that front valance panel on and then the front bumper, dude. It's gonna look so freaking killer. On top of the grill getting put on, I went ahead and put this front valance panel on, and I put the bumper on. I got 3 of the lag carriage bolts in there because I found the bolts in here. I only found 3 of them though. So that's what's holding it on for now. And I am working on putting the headlight buckets in. They're not bolted in, they're just sat in, making sure that everything fits up. Also going to get some hardware to put the running boards on, and another update on the 216 motor. So you guys remember how it was trashed, leaking, it had a rod knocking also. Well, we have found a new home for it. There is a gentleman who watches my channel by the name of Bob, and he works here in Tucson at the Trolley Museum, and they have some of their old buses that still have the 216s in them and whatnot, and he emailed me and he said we could use that motor for parts, you know, what do you want to do with it? And I said, well, I'll just give it to you. So he's on his way right now to pick up this motor, and maybe they can use it for parts for their other trucks in their museum. Pretty much on this side of the pallet, if we want to let it down and then just like tip it.
Yeah, that's my idea.
And then I'll let it down.
Blocking under it. Yeah.
Well, the old 216 is getting a new life at the Trolley and Bus Museum here in Tucson, Arizona. They, on top of having lots of old electric trolleys, they have buses. Those old 30s and 40s buses have those 216s in them, and they are constantly needing parts. So I'm happy to help out. There she goes, off to her new home. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, real quick, this won't take very long. Set these hood hinge springs on there. Everything needs to be put on, so I'm just putting on everything that's in the floor. I mean, it doesn't even matter. Just get it on there. Now, I'll put the hood on probably close to last because I think it's pretty dented up and bent. And also, you know, I'm nowhere near done monkeying around under here with wiring. I'm not done with wiring, and I'm not done probably tuning the engine and all that good business. And on top of that, I'm pretty sure these hoods have special bolts that hold them in. They got like shoulders on them. It's not just like a regular bolt, you know, in a bolt bin. I remember it because I did my GMC and I had to order a bolt kit for it because they're special bolts, and I don't have them yet. I'd have to order them and stuff. I don't even think you can get them at like Ace Hardware, and Ace Hardware has like everything, so we're gonna have to wait on the hood for a bit. But at least those are on and out of the floor and they're ready to go. It's always exciting to me when I start putting in the headlight buckets and the headlights because it just feels so much more complete when you get the headlights in it, or at least the buckets in it. Whenever you get a giant hole filled, it just, you know, it's a good feeling. Had to go up to the hardware store and get 16 friggin' screws. $20 in screws later, $20 for a bunch of these itty bitty little things. Can you believe it? Insane. There it is. Alright, so now we got our headlight plugged in. This case is in the adjusters. So this is right side up, right? Sylvania Performance. You can put them in upside down, or sometimes you can put them in cockeyed. So, got that. And then the ring has a clip, like it clips in here. And then you push it around the light. And then there's a spring. Bingo. Headlights in, and then there's adjusters here and here. We'll have to maybe play with those when we get the electrical done. These headlight rings came with the truck, so that's pretty nifty. We are just looking better and better all the time. Looking so good, so much better with the white walls and the hubcaps and the headlights and the grill on it. I love the way this truck's coming out. It's looking really good. I just figured out these headlight bezels are wrong. They don't fit right. I don't know what they ordered them for, but yeah, they're not right. They should look like that. I know you can't tell on camera. They look identical, but they're not the same. So we'll fix that. That's easy peasy. Let's put the running boards on now. So the way these running boards work is they got carriage bolts. So these slide in these slots and they don't turn once they're in. Just not a bad design, so you don't have to get to them from the top and the bottom, which is a major pain. Went ahead and put the passenger side on, nice and sturdy, not moving around. On to the next thing, which is the cap and rotor. Just went ahead and ordered new ones. Now, I ordered a new one for the 216 and I was hoping that it would work for the 235, but they are different, unfortunately, so I had to order another one. Now, although this truck did run with this cap and rotor, you can see right here, we couldn't start it at first because see how this is turning? That's not supposed to do that. The tab broke. There's this Bakelite plastic holds that, you know, in place, and this one was busted.
You can, I've got that Chevy truck seat. If you want it, you can put it in there. It's a complete seat.
Oh, is it?
It's complete.
We're modifying these signal housings so we can work it with a new bulb. So these housings go here, right on the grill, and they originally were just parking lights. So this was what was in it, a single wire light, one single filament, one wire. It was only for parking lights. They did not have turn signals, that's why it's only one wire. So what we have to do is change it to a dual filament so you can have parking lights and turn signals, because we're adding a turn signal switch and all that good business. So this won't work unless you just want to use the single wire as signals and not have front parking lights. But I already have the wires ran for the parking lights and signals right here, 2 wires, so it really isn't any much more work, and they won't fit down in here. So what I'm doing is I'm grinding the sides off so that I can shove them in there and it'll fit nice and snug. Maybe I'll turn it around. Hold on. There we go. So it'll fit nice and snug in there, and you can have both parking lights and signals. I mean, online they do sell new housings, you know, for modern bulbs, but what's the fun in that when you could fight original ones for 8 hours and make them work? See, not quite. The lens is still popping out, so we got to go in just a little further. That's in. Perfect. Lens fits. Work great. Alright, so I got the light in there and the bezel around it, but it's loose because there's a foam gasket that goes in there, kind of keeps water out and pushes that lens forward, but I don't have the gasket. I'll order it. I didn't know if it would go up there tight or not, but it looks like I'll have to order the gasket. So this is another housing I have that has a busted stud, but check it out. This one's got the gasket. So this will stop the rattling when we go to put the other one on. Surprised these aren't breaking. Bracket for our lights will go like so. Look at that. Oh yeah. Okay, if you guys will remember in the last video when we built this motor, the 235 is a direct bolt in except for the water pump, which is too long. The snout is too long, so I had to shorten the front of the water pump, get a 60s Ford pulley, and I usually like to show the process of me doing this, but it was so off and on, fitment and all that, it was just too difficult, so I'm just showing it to you. Pretty much done. When I went to bolt the fan up to this, the fan hit the harmonic balancer. I had to take a spacer and cut it, see where I cut it, and I had to put it on there, and it was still hitting the balancer, so I put a few washers in there, you can see, and that put us just enough forward to miss the harmonic balancer and miss the radiator. I mean, we are very close though. I mean, we are very close, but it doesn't hit though, because I was just at the Pomona swap meet out in California, and a guy had one of these trucks for sale. He put a 235 in, it was on a trailer, and they did the other way, the wrong way. They hacked up this radiator core support. They didn't want to change the water pump, so they hacked this all up to move the radiator forward, tore this all up. You know, you don't want to buy a truck that's been done to. So all of this has remained factory. Factory rad, factory core support, not modified, whatever, just the water pump. So everything, you know, bolts up and bolts off. So the real question is going to be, is our belt going to fit? This is just a factory 235 belt. The pulley is about the same diameter, so I'm hoping that it'll work. All right, look at that. So next thing we'll do is we'll put another voltage regulator on it, because this is still the 6-volt one. Since we're going to 12 volt and we got a 12 volt generator, we'll put a 12 volt regulator on it, keep everything factory looking. An original Delco Remy regulator, as it should be. Take the wires off of this 6-volt one. I never planned on using this 6-volt one. I just put the wires there while I was doing this harness to know where they went. Sweet. All bolted in, hooked up, ready to rock and roll. Delco Remy, made in USA. That's what I like to see. I think we have our water pump situation completely fixed now. I got the belt on it, and the last and final problem is that the original water hose, that one right there, is smaller than the water outlet on that 235 water pump. So I had to get a 2-inch hose, an old one from actually one of our first gen Cummins, cut it, put it on that outlet, get a reducer from 2 to 1.5, and then cut that 1.5-inch original hose and fit it on there. So it's all hose clamped up finally. Put the top hose on, put the thermostat housing on. I don't have a thermostat in it, so I got a few gallons of distilled. Before I go eat some lunch here, I'm gonna pour this full of water and inspect for any drips and give it some time to sit and chill and marinate. Hopefully we don't have any drips. The radiator, when we had the 216 in it and running, the radiator didn't drip, but you know how things are when you put things back together, it's always a different story. If there's no leaks, we'll drain some out, put some concentrate in it to kind of make it a 50-50 blend. And run with it. I don't see anything coming out, so keep her going. So now what we're gonna do is take the sending unit out, check out the inside of the tank, see what it looks like. If there's gas in it or no gas or what. The radiator and the engine's been sitting full of water now for a little bit, and there's no water dripping, no seeps or drips, so we're looking pretty good there. I'm happy about that. And really, I'm trying to think about what else we need to do. After I check the gas tank, make sure that's all good, I can hook the tank up. I got a hose here. See this? It's like 1 3/8 or 1 and something hose. I got it new to connect the filler neck to the tank because the old hose was trashed. We'll be able to get our truck running on its own source. And since this is a 6-volt gauge and sending unit, I got a reducer or a resistor for the gauge to go from 12 volt to 6 to kick the voltage down. So we'll be able to use the original gauge and everything, providing this sending unit works. Wow, that looks really good actually. Look at that gear-driven sending unit. What a wild concept, man. That's original for sure. Gas. Yeah. Yeah. That is crazy. Let me show you this. It's not even stuck. Half the time I get them and they're stuck, but it raises when there's gas in it. Turns this gear. And it turns this rod that goes all the way to the top. And I guess there's a resistor up here, or a rheostat or a resistor or whatever, and as it goes up and down it changes the resistance and changes your gauge. So we'll put a meter on this and see if it's reading. Oh, I got something. Look at that. I'm just thinking I'm not getting a good connection. So we got 44 ohms at the top. Let's go all the way down. And 6 at the bottom. Okay, so it's working. At the top you have more resistance, at the bottom you have less resistance. So yeah, that sending unit is working. So let's look down inside the tank and see what we're looking like in there. So I got my little scope camera out to look down in here to see what we're working with, and I was very pleasantly surprised. You can see the filler neck hole. I have a light shining down in it to get a better view, but yeah, this tank looks spotless. There has been they must have drained the tank because it looks absolutely spotless in here. There's not even like a level mark where you see gas would have been up to some level. There's the gas outlet where it goes up to the motor. Looks really, really good, almost brand new. So I'm not even going to take this tank out. We're just going to go ahead and use it. So I'll just gingerly set this sending unit back down in there where it rightfully should be. Really, we should be good to go. I mean, we got lucky. We got lucky is what we got. That never happens. Never happens. I mean, it's just a given that the gas tank's going to be a fight, you know. I even have these bolts. You might be able to see it, how it's all wet. I had them soaking in PB Blaster because I already knew I was going to have to take this tank out. It's going to be a whole day-long event, you know, cleaning this pig, but we got lucky. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. New hoses, good tank, good filler neck. And check this out, this is really neat. Just saw this. Pulled the filler neck out just a hair bit, and you can see it was Air Force blue. Because this was covered up, pushed in, it was covered by this gasket. So they painted this before they put the gasket on and the neck in, and this was originally navy blue. This was this was originally Air Force blue. Very cool. I mean, the Air Force in the 40s was not even around for many years. So this is a very early Air Force truck. Very cool. Here's our gas line underneath, and I was trying to find a good spot to put a fuel filter, and I think I'm going to put it right here. This is the only spot where it's rubber. I know some people, they'll just cut this and put one in line. I don't want to do that, so I'm glad I found this. This is trashed anyway. Yeah, so we'll take this off, undo this, push it back, put a fuel filter and some line in, put a barb right here, put a hose on it, and there'll be your fuel filter. I know there's a fuel filter in the bowl of the fuel pump up there on the block. There's a bowl, but I don't want to be taking that on and off the bowl because they leak real easy, and if it's not leaking, I don't want to touch it. So we got our 1/4 inch thread to 3/8 barb, hose, filter, hose to the original line, looking good. I think our weakest link is going to be this valve situation here. If it's going to leak, it's either going to leak from my fitting or it's going to leak from here, which I don't trust this. So we'll pour some gas to it. I'll let you sit down here while I pour it from the top, and we'll see if this fills with gas. The pickup is directly on the bottom of the tank, so it really shouldn't take much gas to start filling this. Yep. Got gas. Don't see it. Or do I? No. Alright, well, we'll let this sit, you know, and we'll see if it starts dripping. I don't trust this valve. Good deal. So we just got some stuff in for the Chevy truck, I believe. See what we got. Probably some of the interior pieces I ordered. Oh yeah. So here's our wood blocks to raise the bed up, because the wood blocks that hold the bed off the frame are rotted out and the bed is sagging down. Here's our rubber floor mat. Originally, this didn't have carpet in it. I'll show you. It had this rubber floor mat in it, and it's hard as a brick bat. It's not usable at all. It just came out as I was cleaning the truck weeks ago. So actually, this is factory. Wow, I can't believe they wrapped this up in circles. I think this is the headliner, door panels, glove box. Here's our glove box. Yeah, so door panels, headliner, floor, carpet, rubber, and the wood bed blocks. So yeah, that's good. Now, some people may like them, some people may not like them, but I like them. Brims, visors, love them. Think they're great. So just to get it out of the floor, we're gonna put it on the truck, hopefully. It's got a clamp in the middle that bolts together, and then it's got 3 screws that screw into the drip railing. Ooh. All right, so it's mocked up on there. I got clamps holding it in because it doesn't want to fit 100% correct, which is fine. I had to squeeze this clamp in the middle because it wasn't wanting to clamp against the divider piece. I also had to go in there and loosen the screws that hold this divider piece against the window, push it out some, see how there's a little gap, so I could get the hooks in there, and then we'll tighten it back up. It'll hold it in place, and then we are going to have to put a screw or so in the drip rail to hold it in. It used to have 3, but I don't know, I might just do 1, maybe 2. Standing back, you can kind of see how it's going to look, you know. Got the brim, going to have the hood, it'll look all nice. Chevy emblem on the front, Chevy on the sides, white wall hubcaps. We're looking righteous, baby. The interior will probably be one of the last things we do because we're going to be in and out of here so much. Like I said earlier, I think, I have the bench seat off being reupholstered, and I just got my other stuff right there. It's going to be a brown interior, which I think will go good with this truck. It'll be like a brown tobacco kind of interior. But what we really have to deal with right now that I've been putting off because I don't like doing it is wiring. But it's got to be done. And here is our turn signal mechanism for our column here. Yeah, this is like the same exact one I have in my GMC over there that you guys always see in the background. Same style, but I wired that up with my dad when I was like 14. I don't remember how it went. Well, I'll have to figure it out though. Here's an inline fuse for it. Set that down somewhere. Yep, so the important thing is that some of these are just turn signals. But this one is a turn signal and flasher, so emergency flasher. So because wiring for me is so touch and go, I'll probably just do some of this and update you as I go along, and instead of showing the work every time, because I'm gonna have to think through this. I'm gonna be slow with this. I'm not fast with wiring. So it's the next day now, and I actually got quite a bit of the wiring done yesterday. We are coming down the home stretch on that. So all the headlights, this is all wired up from here forward. You guys know that. I wired up the generator up to the regulator, battery power going where it needs to go. Wires coming down. Let's see, I wired up the brake light. It's down there. There's a switch there for the brake light. All the wires going to the back for the tail lights. They are not wired up yet. The tail lights themselves, I've still not connected those wires yet. So coming in here, I know this is a big giant mess, but headlight switch has all the dash light loom right here with all our lights on it. I still got to get 12-volt lights because these are still the 6-volt ones. I think this one is the dome light, this one is the brake light switch, this is power in, headlights, and parking light / tail lights. So that is almost done. A key switch is over there somewhere right here. Coil is wired up, amp meter is wired up, the fuel gauge is wired up with a 12 to 6-volt reducer right here. So we're almost there. We're getting there. And then now what I got to do is wire up the turn signal switch. That's what all these are for. These are all the left turn, right turn, front, back wires. And then here's the loom for that and the flasher. So that's what we're doing today. And I'm not going to use most of this. I went so overkill on this wiring harness. It was almost dumb. So all this right here is going to be gone. I'm not using any of that crap. So all the wiring is done, I think. Wires are hanging down in case I still have to do some diagnostics if stuff doesn't work. Everything will be sucked up underneath the dash by the time I'm done. So I just want to troubleshoot everything right now before I clean it all up. So yeah, I got a battery in it, and let's just see. All right. go to the other side and turn the key on and see what happens. I didn't see any change. Oh, gas gauge is reading. Trying. All right, gas gauge is trying to read. It's working. Got left signal. Left signal. Cool. Yes, sir. Let's see if we got it over here. All right. Batting 1,000 so far. Let's see if we got tail lights and headlights. Actually, let's see if we have hazards. Let's pull this out and see. Rear hazards. Front hazards. Parking lights. Oh. That's not supposed to happen. Our headlights are on. We wired something up wrong. Because 1 pole should be parking lights. 2 should be headlights. I had the headlight wire in the wrong spot on the headlight switch. So let me put that right where it should be. Okay, so 1 pull, double pull, headlights, parking lights. Now, I know what you're going to say. You wired them up wrong. Your parking lights are supposed to go out. But I like the way the parking lights look. I did it on purpose. I can change it later. Your brights, dims, brights, dims. Wow. All right, not too bad, man. Not too bad, Travis. Yeah, I can see it in the reflection of the car. Look at that. Heck yeah. Wow, okay. So we got everything. Parking lights, headlights, brights, dims. The only thing we have to do is the dash lights. I still have the 6-volt little bulbs. I ordered some 12-volt bulbs for the dash lights. That's the only thing we have left. That shouldn't be too difficult. So I think we're good on the lights. Now that we have all the electrical hooked up, I'm going to try and run it off the tank, see if it'll pull from the tank, see if the fuel pump's working and all that good business. I want to make sure that the fan is not hitting the balancer or the radiator. I also want to see if the generator is charging. I also want to run it for a little while because it's got the new cam in it. It's got water in it now, radiator's all in it. Just want to make sure everything's good. Maybe we'll drive it around for a bit. Dang it. We're leaking all kinds of oil out of this canister. Man. I had this all hooked up, the pressure line and all that, but obviously this top gasket is no bueno. So I'm gonna have to block it off for now until I can get a correct oil filter and a gasket for this, and you know, then we can run it again. Just give me a sec. Alright, we're getting good oil pressure. I don't hear the fan hitting anything. That's good. Running smooth and sweet. Hair bit of clatter up here, not a big deal. Yeah, I see water moving in there. That's the oil from the oil filter. I don't see anything coming out on the ground. Coming into the cab. I think every one of our gauges is working, guys, which is really awesome. And check out the amp gauge. I think we're charging. So I think we did a really good job on the wiring. I think we got it in the first shot. Killer oil pressure. I think the temperature gauge works. We gotta wait for a minute for it to come up. It'd been sitting so long that the sun was hitting everywhere but where the needle was, and now that it's came up, it's showing its original paint. So I'm very happy with this. Very happy with this. It's been about 20 minutes later now. We're still at a little less than 180. We haven't gone even to 180 yet. It's stopped rising. So the temp gauge obviously works and the temperature is staying nice and cool. We got a pretty significant leak. It's burning off the exhaust, but it's the master cylinder. See it up there with the line coming off it? Master cylinder is dripping pretty bad. Might have to take that back apart and hone it better or whatever. And we also have a small drip right here coming from our fuel, but it's not coming from the valve, it's coming from the connection right there. So if I tighten that up, that should stop that. See it? We got a lot done here today. We got the radiator in, the radiator core support is in, the fan is in and it doesn't hit. We got the grill in, we got the front balance panel on, we got the front bumper on, got water in the system, everything is good to go there. It is now a running, driving, stopping 48 Chevy pickup truck. Got the gas tank in, it's sucking fuel on its own accord, and on top of all that, the cherry on top is the wiring. I'm so glad it's done. It's not my favorite thing to do. I'm slow with it, and I'm just glad everything kind of worked on the first try, really, once I put a battery to it. Headlights, tail lights, brights, front parking lights, rear parking lights, brake lights, signals, all that good business works. And all the gauges work. We didn't test out the speedometer because it's not really electronic. It uses a cable, and it might be stuck. I'm gonna have to take it apart and lube it up or whatever. And I actually have another speedometer that's in better shape that I might use and put in there instead. We're looking really good here on this truck. I mean, we're kind of coming down the home stretch, really. Now, in the next video, I think we're probably gonna do the interior. All my stuff came in for that. Really, the only upholstery in the truck is the seat, and I already have the seat out being redone. That's gonna cost probably 500 bucks, and then the rest of it was 350 bucks. So we can do the entire interior in this truck for like 850, $900, which is pretty good. When you want to talk about an interior, you know, a costly interior, my 56 Caddy, that was a nightmare. So we'll do that in the next episode, and plus a lot of other piddly stuff. You know, I haven't lubricated the doors, I haven't lubricated the window rollers. The doors shut kind of funky, the door latches are real stiff and hard, you know, so we'll straighten all that out. And if you've stuck around in the video this long, I know you've seen that black Model A in the background. That is going to be the next video. I'll show you just a little snippet of it right now. I acquired this 1931 beautiful example of a Model A. I usually don't buy things this nice. You guys know how I roll. I mean, you know, just look at what I drag home typically. This is very, very nice. This is probably going to be a keeper for now, guys. I usually sell the things that I work on when I'm done with them, but this will probably stick around for a little bit. Show you a little bit of the inside. She is all original if I've ever seen it, guys. I love originality, you guys know this. I don't, not that I don't like hot rods, but me personally, I like to find them in original condition, keep them in original condition, use them as they were originally meant to be used. And I think we've found that here in this car. I love it. It's cool to me to know that Henry Ford was alive when this car was being made. His stamp of approval was on every door panel, the seats, the window cranks, the dash. I mean, this was his answer. Hard fought too. He didn't want to stop making the Model T. Remember that. He made it for 25 years and thought it was the perfect car. So his son Edsel had to sort of force him to make this car, this upgrade, because other car makers were starting to eat their lunch after so many years. So this is a bone stock car in great shape. And on top of that, we don't really have too many Fords on the channel, but this one, you gotta make an exception. I mean, it's just too cool, man. Appreciate you guys sticking around to the end of the video. Hope this was worth it, showing you what we're gonna be up to next. And again, Dad and me always appreciate you guys' watching, your views, your support, your comments, your subscribing. It helps the channel grow. You know, I mean, we're firing on all 8 here in 2024, so hopefully we can keep that momentum rolling. So with that said, guys, we'll see you in the next one.